Happy Monday. Austin is slowly creeping up on his pick'ems. He's gaining a little bit of ground. Almost making me, I don't know, almost shake a little bit, I guess you could say. But I'm okay for now. But welcome to this episode of the K&A Football Podcast. We're done with week 9 now. There was a lot of games yesterday, and there was a lot of crazy stuff. So Austin and I are going to be here, talk about the games, recap the games, make sure you guys know everything in case you missed anything. Should be a fun time. This is K&A Football. All right, Austin. How are you today?
Oh, we're changing it up today.
Yeah, we are. I'm not going to say the same thing every week. I'm changing it up.
Moved away from the classic kid. Oh, we're officially 9 weeks done with the season. I'm doing pretty well today. You know, I got some interesting notifications on my phone today from NFL sources, specifically dealing with the Colts.
Oh, yeah.
So that was pretty interesting to see.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get there. That's actually the first game.
Is it really?
Recap, so that's pretty...
Before we do move into our pick'ems, I would...
Recap,
you're right. Austin and I give Debbie a lot of crap and a lot of jokes off of the camera, okay? Like
sometimes even on the camera.
Sometimes on the camera, but especially when it's
notable
off.
times.
Like before, like the hour before we were recording just now, setting everything up. Like we were dogging on. Yes, like probably 5 minutes ago. I was saying how we
up until Caden said the intro, it was literally nothing but shade on that.
But regardless of what we say off the camera, we need to take a moment and respect Debbie because last week Debbie was out of town. He was in Pennsylvania, and Sue Ellen was here to record.
Mm-hmm.
Then he had to go to work, which left Austin and I to edit and upload the podcast. And I don't know if you were paying attention, but if you looked at the Spotify from, 11:30 to
Sunday?
to Sunday, so from 11:30 on Saturday to Sunday, you'll see that the podcast was 1 minute long. And that 1 minute long podcast took us an hour and a half to upload with Debbie on the phone trying to walk us through it. So we did eventually fix it because Debbie eventually got home from Pennsylvania and had to do it all. But so shout out to Debbie. It is a lot harder than it looks. And we give him a lot of crap. But
yeah, show Debbie some love because it was actually pretty difficult. We weren't expecting it to be that hard. We were literally like, a step and a half into the entire process.
20 minutes in.
Literally, Debbie sent like all these videos on how to get it uploaded all nice, how to edit it properly, get it uploaded. Oh, it's going to be so easy. So nice. All you have to do is follow these instructions.
It's easy.
We're literally a step and a half in, 20 minutes in, and we're like, we're kind of lost. We have no idea what to do. So we call Debbie. We're like, oh, this is the step we're at. Debbie audibly laughs when we tell her that we've been 20 minutes working on this and we're only like a step and a half into this. So, yeah. Credit to Debbie for getting everything up and rolling because
as much crap as he receives. Good job, Debbie. But now we'll get into the recap.
The K&A Week Recap.
All right, Austin. So we'll go into the recap.
I guess game 1.
First we okay. So this game was Thursday. We did talk about this one. Eagles beating the Texans. But we saw this thing, 10 minutes ago, and we really wanted to somehow incorporate it into the podcast. So the Eagles have a very easy schedule the rest of the season. This whole season so far.
Right.
Like everyone's like, they're not a real undefeated team. They've beaten no one. What are the Eagles supposed to do about that, you know? Like, they don't make their schedule.
Right. It's not like their college or their own schedule.
Well, we saw this thing on Instagram. And I'm just going to read it off of my phone. And this is what it says. Again, sort of has something to do with football, but it was hilarious for us, and it has something to do with the game. So it says, what people want the Eagles' schedule to look like. Chiefs, Bills, Dolphins, Cowboys with Dak, God, Thanos, U.S. Navy SEALs, and then they get a break, they get a bye. And then they got the Bills again, the Chiefs again, and then they got the entire Wakandan army, and then they got God with the 85 Bears defense, an army of Derrick Henrys, and then the Vikings, but not in prime time. Like the 1 o'clock Vikings. So just thought that was really funny. Me and Austin were laughing about that. So now we'll get into yesterday's games.
Yeah. So first of the games was, I think we have Colts Patriots up here. Oh man, never mind. Debbie deserves all the hate. I lied. I lied.
Can we cut out everything I said in the first? Yeah, right here. Let's just cut out everything I said in the first 5 minutes.
Cut it out. Edit that out, Debbie. You won't. No. You won't. All right. So Colts Patriots. I think we both pretty accurately predicted this game. If I remember correctly. We
did both pick Patriots.
Yeah. So the Colts lost 3-26. There's some motion going on everywhere, but Colts lost 3-26. Patriots continue to pull out games that I don't think they should win. This is really distracting. Pulling out games that I don't think they should win. I mean, this was one of the games that's like, yeah, they should probably win this one because the Colts kind of suck. But man, that was really difficult to try to talk through that. Thanks, guys.
Debbie had to
run an errand. Basically, in my mind, not a whole bunch to talk about here. Mac Jones continues to not be a fantastic quarterback. His job is very much on the line for even the rest of the season, but most definitely next year. And the Colts, following their disappointing season so far, right? We're halfway done with the year. I know I said it. I said the unsayable. We're halfway through the year, and the Colts have only won like 3 games. And before this season, there was a lot of hype built around the Colts that they were going to be the best team in football, one of the most improved, definitely, and they were going to be just a dominant force. And they've only won 3 games out of 9.
Yeah, I mean, when Sam Ehlinger, when they announced he was going to start, I was like, oh, I think he'll give them the spark, and then. Sure, they may not be a contender, but they'll definitely be improved. And I mean, these last 2 weeks have really shown that I was dead wrong on that. And he's just the guy that's just going to complete their loss of a season and get them a high draft pick because 3 points. That's it.
Yeah.
Like they played. I mean, granted, Jonathan Taylor wasn't playing, but even when he has been playing this year, he hasn't been good. But like you said too, Mac Jones is struggling dramatically.
Yeah.
Dramatically. And I have to think every time I say that. But, I mean, the Patriots defense won them this game. They had 2 defensive touchdowns and held the Colts to 3. I mean, the Colts do have a lot of struggles. And then today, it was announced that they fired their head coach.
Yep.
And then, with the shocking part, I mean, people expected that. They were struggling. But their interim coach is Jeff Saturday, who... If you do pay attention to football, he's done a lot of analysis. Analysis. Yeah. He's been like the guy on the TV, like talking about the games. Like not a football coach at all. The last time he coached a football team was a high school football team, and that season they went 3-7, and that's a high school football team. And now he's going straight to the NFL with a team that is not good.
Yeah, Jeff Saturday played center. He was
good. Yeah,
right. I mean, good football player. Playing the game, snapping the ball to Peyton Manning. Did a very good job. Coaching, not so much. So I'm kind of excited to see what that's going to look like. I almost hope they don't win a game the rest of the year.
I would be shocked if they do. I think they're like, okay, we're not making the playoffs. Why waste the season? Let's tank.
Make an absolute move.
Like
Jeff Saturday is the head coach.
Like they are completed. They're going full tank mode. Let's go get that first pick. Thankfully for teams that are also tanking, the Colts have Jonathan Taylor, so they might squeak out a game or 2.
Yeah,
but
they're not going to tank super terribly. They do have wins under their belt.
Yeah.
Next game here, Packers Lions. This was literally just the most disappointing. It would have been the most disappointing game of my Sunday, but we'll get to the most disappointing game. This would have been the most disappointing game.
I don't know what you're talking about, but we'll see, I guess.
We'll see. Look, Packers,
You suck.
you're just the worst. Like, there is no redemption. I really believed. I'm like, okay, so here we have the Packers, who are not good. And we have the Lions, who are 1-6. And, like, they haven't been able to win these games. They get close, but they can never pull it off. I'm going to have to say Green Bay's going to win.
And they've
this
owned
game.
them for so many years.
Right. Green Bay's owned the entire NFC North for so many years. So you're like, okay, the Packers are going to win this one. Come on, guys. And then they go ahead and the score does not accurately reflect what happened in this game.
No way. I mean, the Packers had a shot they're in their very last drive, but Rodgers has just played so awful. He played awful this whole game.
He did.
He's gone, what was it? He's gone at least 15 years, I think it was, since throwing a red zone interception, and he threw 2 yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, in week 9 of this year, he has thrown as many interceptions as he threw the entire season last year.
I mean, and it's not like he played terrible. The whole Packers played terrible. But it's not like they're doing this against the Bills defense or even like the Bengals, even a mediocre. This is the worst defense statistically in the NFL.
Yeah.
And you got completely dismantled. I mean, we say it every single week. They need to switch something up play calling wise. They need to sign some guys. I mean, Romeo Doubs, their quote unquote number one receiver. I mean, he's played the best out of anyone this year. He left the game in a walking boot. Mm-hmm. Aaron Jones left the game in a walking boot, and one of their defensive players is out for the year now. I mean, and then what makes me mad is Rodgers would make a bad throw on 4th down, throw an interception or something, and he'd go to the sideline. He'd be screaming and yelling, and I'm like, why? You have no one to blame for this but you. Sure, you don't have the greatest receivers, but you're missing the throws. You're throwing the interceptions. It's not like their receivers are just tipping in the air, you know?
Yeah.
You can't get mad at anyone but yourself, so stop taking it out on your team. Just because you're a future Hall of Famer doesn't mean that you're just obligated to never doing anything wrong and everything's on your teammates, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, I have a take. I mean, Rodgers has to stop being such a flibbergibbet and throw his weight around. Okay. Talk he is the star. Talk to the coaches. Talk to the staff. Get him some receivers. It's not that hard.
I mean, yeah, there's been a lot of talk because this week Odell is supposed to be cleared,
right,
and be ready full go. And so there's been a lot of talk. Sorry, Debbie's making me laugh right now. There's been a lot of talk revving up and Odell he might sign here. Take a shot at him. I mean,
make him an offer.
It can't get any worse. It literally can't get any worse.
It cannot. No.
They tried to make an offer for Darren Waller at the deadline, got declined. They tried to make an offer for DJ Moore, got declined. So it's like teams around the league are memeing the Packers. They're like, "Oh, we are not helping you." But
maybe Odell will help them. Probably not, because he's very interested in going and winning another Super Bowl, and probably not as much in the money.
Right.
With him being cleared this week, I'm super, super excited because I may or may not have drafted him in one of the late rounds.
So did I.
One of my leagues. So hopefully he comes back swinging, and I just picked up a receiver that's going to score me 25 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be pretty sick. Packers, you suck. I don't see a way I pick you the rest of the year.
I was the same thing.
I literally have said that 4 times now, and every time I say that, the very next week they play some crappy opponent, and you're like, well, of course they're going to beat these guys. These guys are the worst. For all I know, they're playing the Texans next week, and I'm going to be forced to pick Green Bay. Okay? I've said it 4 times now. Green Bay, it's official this time. We're done. It's not me, it's you. Okay? It's over. Don't love you anymore. Moving on. Chargers, Falcons. You had said that this game was going to be a far apart game. The Chargers were going to win by quite a handy amount of points.
I did.
I said that this game was going to be close. I did say that I thought the Falcons would pull it out, which they almost did. I was kind of disappointed they didn't. But it was a lot closer than I think what most people were expecting. And this game, for me at least, was not that the Chargers won. This was more of who would be worse, chargering it or falconing it? Which choking artist would come out on the bottom?
Well, and did you see the end of the game?
I did, yeah.
Because it was 17-17 with under a minute to go, and the Chargers were clearly in field goal range. Like, they just had to run it once, get tackled, kick their game-winning field goal. They hand it to Eckler, and he had 3 touchdowns. He was balling. No, he didn't. That wouldn't be possible. No, he had 2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns.
So they hand it to Eckler. He's going. He fumbles. The Falcons, one of their big D linemen, picks it up. He starts rumbling down the field. Everyone's chasing him. He's not touched by a Charger. He's just running, and he fumbles just by running because he's not used to it. And so he goes and he fumbles. The Chargers pick it up, and then it's a reset, Chargers ball, first down, but they just lost 30 yards on the play. And then the next play, they throw it deep, get a catch, and then kick a game-winning field goal. If that doesn't tell you, that is the perfect way for a Falcons-Chargers game to end.
It is. It's which team will choke more? The Chargers were like, please, no, we can't win a game. That's not possible for us. So they fumble the ball. And then the Falcons are like, oh, wait a minute. We don't want to win either. Let's fumble the ball away. It's defensive lineman. I don't know who you are. I hope you don't have a job after this week. But, come on. You need to have some self-assessment there and be like, okay, I'm not the most athletic guy on the field. That's why I'm playing D-line.
But I can hold a football.
What you should have done is just jumped on it, gone down, held it, and put it up to your offense to get back into field goal range and score the game-winning drive, or take it to overtime, or anything other than what you did. That was the worst. That was way worse than the Panthers choking 3 times last week.
If I was a Falcons fan watching that play, my phone was going through more wolves. But
more walls. But that didn't happen. Caden never put his throat through a wall.
Did we say that last week?
No, we didn't. We kept that under
wraps. Cut that out.
It didn't happen. Crap. Out there for everyone to see forever. All right. This game was the most disappointing game of my week.
Oh.
No. That's not what's on my list.
Oh.
This is the most disappointing game.
That is just.
Oh, let me just say. Austin said when we got to this game, he goes, Bills by 100 or Bills by 50, whatever you said. I said, well, I mean, the Jets are gonna lose, obviously. They didn't.
Funny.
Just so you know, they didn't. But the Jets are gonna lose this game. But the way that they play, it's gonna be they lose by 11 or they lose by 14. They're not gonna get killed. Well, they won.
That's kind of crazy. I don't really know what happened. I mean, Josh Allen, and he even said so after the game.
Josh Allen said, and I quote, I played like...
I was going to say, you better not quote him. Yeah.
I played like poop.
When he said quote, I was like, oh, no.
Yeah, no. But, I mean, yeah, the Jets, they got blown out last week by the Patriots, and then they go and this is how they play. They muck up the games, and they just play to what they do. They just run the ball, play good defense, keep you off the field, and that's what they did. I mean, Sauce Gardner looks like a superstar corner.
He does.
He looks great, which is
what
awesome.
A great draft pick by the Jets.
But I mean, yeah, I don't think this is concerning at all for the Bills. Everyone's gonna have those games. Right. Better happen now than in January.
Right.
So I don't think it's a concern for the Bills, but I do think it's good for the Jets. I mean, it's a big game for them.
I mean, it shakes up the AFC East for sure. That division's kind of everywhere right now.
Mm-hmm.
So
that division, along with the NFC East, the two Easts are both very good divisions.
It's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Really interesting to see. Anyway, moving on past that, it makes me sad.
Oh, you skipped one. Yeah.
Vikings football team.
Now, if you didn't notice, the last 3 games have been 20-17.
It's kind of weird. Kind of weird how that happens sometimes.
NFL scripted.
It's not scripted, Caden. Stop thinking it's scripted.
Joking.
I think we're legally allowed to say that.
If the NFL sees this podcast and takes it down, then they can do that.
I'd be kind of happy, actually.
But yeah, Vikings 20, Washington 17. We say this every single week. And I keep saying to myself, eventually they're going to kill a team because they're playing a lot of bad teams. You want to tell you how the Eagles haven't played anyone good. They haven't played anyone good.
Yeah.
And they're 8-1. Or, 9-1. 7-1.
7-1.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And then every week they're playing a really bad team and they barely find a way to win. This week they're going up against Washington and you're like, okay, this is the game where they blow them out and you're like, okay, this is a 8-1 team or 7-1, whatever they are. And then they're losing by a lot, like double digits in the third quarter. And you're like, this team isn't legit. And then they go, they come back, they win the game, and you're like, how are they 7-1? Like, they are barely beating Washington. They are barely beating Chicago when they were struggling a lot. They barely beat the Dolphins with Skylar Thompson at quarterback. They beat the Packers, but the Packers are...
Packers is the Packers.
Right. I mean, they're barely beating these teams. They barely beat the Lions. They're 8-1. I feel like this is a very big letdown potential for the Vikings. I don't have any faith in this team. I don't see how they go far. I feel like once they get into the playoffs and they play a legit team first round, even it could be a wild card team, they will lose. Like, this team is not able to compete with these good teams. They're barely beating the bad teams.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, do you win 20-17 against the football team, against Washington? Like, that's not good, but they keep doing it week in and week out. So it's like, I mean, is this how you're going to win your games? Just like barely squeaking them out? If so, that's fine. Like, a win's a win, but that's not going to serve you well come January.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to lose.
Yeah, and everyone says, like, oh, the Eagles, they have an easy schedule. Right, but they're blowing everybody out. The Vikings also have an easy schedule.
And they're barely winning.
Barely winning. Like,
right.
There is a big difference there.
That is the difference for me. It's like, okay, they have very similar records, but the Eagles are dropping 50 on multiple teams, and the Vikings are winning by 3. 1. Like, so, Vikings, your time will come. You will eventually lose.
Yeah, I have no faith in the Vikings.
But for now, congratulations on your win. Kirk Cousins on the plane is an absolute meme.
The Vikings, they are lucky. They do have a free NFC North trophy.
That's true.
Because that division.
NFC North, they just win that automatically. They get to put that banner up.
Yeah. That's what they get to do after this season. They could put a banner in their stadium because they're not getting a Super Bowl.
All right, Caden, this is your game now. The game is in your court.
Okay. Normally, when we come in to Debbie's basement, I come in and I say like, we talk about some of like the games, like just off camera, like we'd be like, oh, you see that, and then a lot of times you're like, oh, Panthers, and I give you my spiel on how I feel, or I text you right after the game or during the game or that night, whenever I see you, but I haven't said anything to you, so you have no idea how I feel. I sent you a picture on Instagram of Bryce Young photoshopped in a Panthers jersey, so I can sort of tell where I'm gonna go, but it's almost a blessing in disguise that DJ Moore chucked his helmet last week and we lost. I think the whole time in his mind, he's like, do I want to go in this next season with PJ Walker as my quarterback? No. Chucks his helmet. Let's lose. So, like, yeah, we lost, obviously. We were getting smoked.
42-21.
Yeah, Bengals beat us 42-21, but it was a lot more of a blowout than it looks. It was 35-0 at half. I turned it off at halftime. I've never done that during a Panthers game. But, I mean, this team's not going to go anywhere. I was hyping them up. I was getting excited. But like, the NFC South is so bad that you have a chance. Yeah, you do. You did. But say they did miraculously go win the NFC South. Okay. This happens to you in the playoffs and you get embarrassed. And then you're stuck with a mediocre QB next season.
Right, because you don't have that.
Right, or you go to win these games, you try to win the division, and you don't, and you fail at that, but you win 5 or 6 games in the process, and then you don't get that division title, and you don't get a top 5 pick. You're stuck with like the 8th, 9th, 10th pick. That's not going to get you a good quarterback, and it's not going to win you the division. So then you're really stuck. Here, yeah, you're not going to win the division. You suck. The coach is an interim coach. He's not going to do anything. Offensive coordinator, he's going to be fired. Their whole coaching staff will be blown up. They're going to restart at quarterback. Lions win yesterday was huge. We have the 2nd pick as of right now.
Right behind the Texans.
If the Texans can win a game, I'm praying, bro. If the Texans can win a game, we will jump them. All we have to do is not win, which isn't looking like a tall task. As long as we don't slip up and win a game like we did with the Bucks,
As long as we don't slip up and
As long as we
win.
don't slip up and win, we will get the first or second pick. I mean, I'm hoping we get a quarterback. I mean, I know it's November, and the draft isn't for months away, so I'm not going to talk about like draft people, but like someone like Bryce Young or like a running back like Bijan Robinson or Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm sure we'll do an episode of like draft stuff when it gets closer to that time. So I'm not going to say stuff right now, but like looking ahead to the draft, Panthers could. I mean, look at what the Jets did. You know,
Right. Yeah, don't worry. The Panthers are so dysfunctional, they'll probably accidentally win games and get stuck with like the 8th pick.
it sucks because I don't want to root for us to lose, but I have to. I can't. Like get
In
stuck
other
with them.
news, congratulations, Bengals. Joe Mixon went for 5 touchdowns and absolutely shredded, cheese grated Debbie's team in fantasy. Went for 55, causing Debbie to lose all hope of any playoff.
Debbie, how much did your team score as a whole?
Let me check.
Very poorly.
It was not good to start off with.
I think Debbie only scored like 80
scored
points.
like. Okay, this is
55.
This is really bad.
That's what we.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Their team scored 182 points against 85.
Okay, so Joe Mixon scored over half of what Debbie's
Tyler
team
Higbee literally got 0
had.
points.
Yeah, we'll get to the Rams game in a minute. But yeah,
Don't worry. So Debbie's team is the worst and is quickly falling in fantasy. Playoff berth is looking slimmer and slimmer every
hey,
single
we're only
week.
at
That's
week
very
10.
facts.
Let's chill.
I'm just saying. Fantasy playoffs come a lot quicker than NFL playoffs.
That's true. They start in like 3 weeks.
creeping up here. Yeah.
Oh boy, I gotta start making a push. I didn't even think about that. Okay, yeah.
Fantasy trade deadline also coming up in like 2 weeks, guys. Get on those. All right. Raiders, Jags. Caden, you and I, we continue to agree. We keep saying. I feel like
which is rare.
right. We keep agreeing, which is like very rare. So you'd think that we'd be like more right if we were together, but it turns out we just continue to be more wrong. We have continued to say that the Raiders are the best, worst team in football. Their record does not accurately reflect how good this team is. I am going back on that. The Raiders are awful. They have now blown 3 17-plus point leads in the last like 3 weeks. That is dysfunctionality at its finest.
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming at the end of the season we're gonna go back and look at some of our takes and see how right or how wrong we were, which is gonna be a very bad episode.
That one may never air.
Yeah, hopefully not. But I will say I was incredibly high on Derek Carr. I thought he was gonna have a career season. I thought the Raiders were gonna be good. I was so wrong. I mean, I said on Saturday or whatever day we filmed, Derek Carr, like he's just got to remember, like we got Devontae Adams. One of these times in a game, it's just going to click, and they're going to be the Raiders that we all expected. And in the first half, they were.
That
He was
them,
throwing
yeah.
to Devontae Adams like crazy, and who knows? Who would have thought when he threw it to Devontae Adams, you score? You know, like that's mind-boggling. Like I wouldn't.
Right. In the first half, they threw it to him 9 times, and he went for like 180 yards.
He caught all 9 passes for 2 touchdowns and like a crazy amount of yards. Like who would have thought? You know, it's crazy stuff. And then the second half, he's like, "Wait, we have Devontae Adams? No, we don't." And he stopped throwing to him. And what do you know? The Jaguars come back and win. I'm with you. I really don't see how they're losing games, but they are a bad team. I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know if it's quarterback play, but they are not a good team.
I think it's got to be both. Like you're coaching, even if your quarterback is bad, if you're up by 17, you should have good enough coaching that you don't lose that game in one half. Like 30 minutes of football is not a full game, guys. It's 60 minutes. Okay.
Yeah, I got a question for you. So if the season ended today, thankfully it's not, but if the season ended today, the Raiders would have the 3rd pick in the draft. If things were to stay the way they are and the Raiders have the 3rd pick, would you see them going quarterback or somewhere else? I mean, obviously we're a long ways away and they could end up with a higher pick, but
right. If okay, here's the thing. I don't know if they'd have the opportunity to go quarterback with a good quarterback. Because in my mind right now, the top 4 picks are quarterback, running back.
What?
I think those are like the best options
No!
on the table right now.
I'm sorry. Running backs don't go in the first 5 picks.
Ezekiel Elliott did.
Okay. Aside from him and Leonard Fournette, no other running backs have done that in the last years.
Then defensive tackle. Like,
okay, yeah.
Either way, you have the quarterbacks going like 1 and 2, pretty much back to back, and especially with the teams that currently have the 1 and 2.
For
pick.
sure.
Texans, Panthers. Okay.
Quarterbacks.
Both of them need quarterbacks. But assuming that one of those quarterbacks falls, or assuming that one of the other quarterbacks from, around the SEC or ACC, that they're like, continue to perform well, I would see Raiders going quarterback. Derek Carr, in my mind, has not been a good quarterback for years now. And I thought that giving him weapons like Devontae Adams, having Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow, I thought that these would be guys that he would be like, okay, now we can have a good year. Like you said, he would have a career year. That is not the case. Could not be further from the truth. And I do not think he is to quote Devontae Adams, Hall of Fame quarterback.
No.
He has proved nothing in his career. He has accomplished nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to agree with you because I like Derek Carr, but I feel like if they're in this situation, they almost have to go quarterback because, they have Derek Carr, but he hasn't done anything. And then if you bring in a rookie quarterback, he's probably in the best situation a rookie quarterback can be in with Devontae Adams and Darren Waller and Hunter. Like, that's a great weapons around
That's a
you.
good supporting cast for that guy to learn, gain confidence. Even if he doesn't start right away and he sits for a year, that still gives you time to develop that quarterback and push Derek Carr out. Go give him to the Colts.
They'll take him.
They'll take him. They love the revolving door of quarterbacks. But overall, good job, Jacksonville. Not much to say. You guys just didn't play as bad as the Raiders, shockingly. All right. The Miami Dolphins against the Chicago Bears. Look, I don't understand how this game was as close as it was.
Because Justin Fields is
Justin Fields is him.
Yeah.
Like, that's... that's just Justin Fields is him. The fact that you, as the Bears, with literally zero defense, can hang in there 35-32. Now, of course, they scored 35 points, so that shows why you have zero defense. Like, no defense, 35 points, obviously. But the Dolphins have a pretty good defense. It's not great, but it's solid for sure. Justin Fields put them through a cheese grater.
Dude, it was literally touchdown every drive. And the Browns had a bye yesterday, so we're all in the living room watching the game. Well, I mean, me and my dad were in the living room watching the game. And since the Browns weren't playing, my dad would kind of take like mini naps. He'd take like 5-minute naps and I'd yell until he'd wake up. And so he'd like, at one point he goes, every time I look, like, because we're watching Red Zone, so it flashes. He's like, every time I look at the TV, the Dolphins are driving. And he goes, how is it a close game? Like, I feel like the Bears haven't done anything. I was like, Dad, because every time they do something, you're asleep. Like, it's just touchdown. Like, no punts. Like,
yeah.
Justin Fields, he has no weapons, and he's scoring 32 points against a respectable defense.
Yeah. Justin Fields
Yeah.
he rushed as a quarterback for 178 yards in this game. Broke the NFL record for single game rushing for QB. Okay, sorry, Michael Vick. Been taken from you. Justin Fields is him.
I mean, yeah.
He threw for 128 yards, so he rushed for more than he threw for. Talk about running back at quarterback. Lamar Jackson, that's taken from you.
Don't hate on him.
Yeah, I'm not hating. He's used to playing with no defense. We had this conversation on Saturday. But good job, Bears.
Yeah.
Like, get yourself a defense, and all of a sudden, like, the NFC North's looking kind of crazy. And the Bears stand a legitimate chance to be a good team again.
Like, sure, the Panthers got blown out yesterday and everything, but this was like the biggest. This put me in such a good mood yesterday because, as you probably know from listening to the podcast, I'm the biggest Justin Fields fan. Like,
you don't
love
say.
Justin Fields. Got his Ohio State jersey, and he's gotten so much hate from like ESPN and all these people are like, he's not a good quarterback. Like, look at his record. Look. He's finally getting some people are like, oh, like. Maybe he is good. And it also is starting to break the narrative a little bit of Ohio State quarterbacks are always busts.
Right.
So you get 2 good things for me, I guess you could say.
Applause.
I'm happy about it. Yeah.
All right. Next game, Seahawks, Cardinals. Kyler Murray is now 0-2 since the new Call of Duty release.
I knew you were gonna say that.
I'm gonna say it every week until he wins, and hopefully he doesn't win again. Sorry, Kyler. Cliff Kingsbury is just not a good coach.
Mm-hmm.
Seahawks continue to be absolutely dominant.
I mean, I said it last week, and I don't want to just repeat myself, but the Seahawks are like the most feel-good story, I guess you could say, I've ever seen in like live, like that I've actually like watched live. You know, like I didn't expect them to go win a single game, and they are dominant.
Yeah,
like it is so insane. Like, yeah, you got the Giants. They surprised. The Jets surprised. This is different. Like, those teams didn't have expectations, but they weren't supposed to go 0-17. And they're not dominant. They're not, like, killing teams like this. It's insane. I love it. And I saw something yesterday that said, Geno Smith is not a franchise quarterback because blah, 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 blah. And I was like, really? I mean, what has he done to show you that he's not? You know?
Yeah. What, he got cut from the Jets, and the Jets are still looking for the answer at quarterback? While he's over here absolutely balling in Seattle? Not a franchise quarterback? Okay.
I did see something yesterday where he is being brought up in MVP talks. Okay, now that's a little excessive because
far.
He's not going to win MVP. He's not Josh Allen or Jalen Hurts, but I just love how good the Seahawks are, and it is crazy to me. They're running away with the NFC West, them and the Niners.
Mm-hmm.
There's a very good chance the Seahawks make the playoffs.
It's crazy to say after all the talks. You couldn't have
paid me. What am I trying to?
Any amount of money? Like,
no amount of money would have made me believe that the Seahawks would have done anything. They've gotten more than 3 wins this year, and they might make the playoff, which is insane.
Very ridiculous. Pete Carroll, I say it almost every week. You're working magic over there in Seattle. Coach of the Year candidate for sure, if not already guaranteed winner. Okay, this was probably the most disappointing game of football
history,
other than the Colts Broncos on Thursday night a couple weeks ago. The score, again, this is another game where like the score is like, oh, that looks like it could have been a good game. It wasn't.
Well, I mean, the ending was pretty good.
The ending was good, but the rest of it was not good. Buccaneers won 16-13. We had both said the Rams were going to win this one because the Buccaneers have just looked dysfunctional. And both teams continued to look dysfunctional. It looked like 2 old quarterbacks that kind of forgot how to play football were trying to play football. Obviously, Buccaneers ended up winning this game. Tom Brady threw for his 100,000th yard, which is
stupid,
ridiculous. He completed his 55th game-winning drive and is now undefeated after being divorced. So, all crazy stats that Tom Brady can now call his own.
I mean, a year ago, this would have been the game of the week. It would have been Sunday Night Football.
It was. Last year when they played, this was a crazy good game.
Yeah, it would have been a Sunday Night Football game. It would have been 28-31. It would have been an amazing game. And this week, everyone's like, oh, the Bucs and the Rams playing? Not watching that. Because these teams have been some of the most depressing teams. The Rams offense, non-existent. You got Cooper Kupp and you're not giving him the ball. Dumb. And then Tom Brady, the first 3.5 quarters of this game, looking like Tom Brady all season. And then they get the ball back at the very end. And all of a sudden he's like, oh, I'm Tom Brady. I've spent 74 years doing this. I should do it again. So he goes and he led a game-winning drive and won them the game. What's frustrating for any football fan, I guess you could say, Tom Brady's played so bad. The Bucs have played so bad. And they are first in the NFC South. Tom Brady gets bailed out every year somehow. Literally, worst division maybe in history. And he is winning the division only because he catches every break imaginable.
He does. Whatever team wins that division, immediately pummeled in the playoffs.
But he'll make it. They're never going to be able to say Tom Brady didn't make the playoffs because he's in the NFC South I'm ripping on the Division 2. Panthers are in that division. He gets... Oh, it's so frustrating. I'm sure for all football fans, not just Tom Brady haters. But
like us.
yeah, but I mean, the Rams are in a lot of trouble. They have no draft picks this year. They have like a 6th-round pick and a 4th-round pick. Like,
We'll probably trade those away too.
No, I'm sure. But like, they're like 3rd or 4th in their division.
What are they gonna do?
They can't win any games. They can't beat the Bucks, who have struggled. I mean,
bad game.
Yeah.
All right, last game to talk about was last night's game.
Sure.
The Titans playing the Chiefs at Arrowhead. Chiefs won 20-17, but for the entire first half of that game, it looked like that was not going to be the case. Derrick Henry was making me sweat a little bit because I had 118 points, and the person I was playing had 111, and Derrick Henry started running for a lot of yards. He started pulling off some big runs, and I lost. And I started to sweat. Derrick Henry, that was like a quarter into the game. They were moving up to 111. I was like, I lost this game. Fortunately, Derrick Henry decided to stop running the ball, and so I won 118-113. It was a great night last night. I keep getting bailed out in...
What league was this in?
Heritage Glen.
Dude, you were so lucky.
I keep getting bailed out in that league, I swear. I'm 8-1 now. Let's go. Number 1 seed. But then, so the Titans were up, like, was it like 17-9?
Yeah.
17-9 at half. And you're like, sorry, Chiefs. You're going to lose to the Titans.
With Malik Willis.
Because where was Ryan Tannehill? We don't know. I don't know. Just decided not to play, I guess. I don't know. His tummy still hurt. But then Patrick Mahomes was like, oh, wait a minute. I'm getting paid $500 million to throw the football around. Maybe we should win. And so they did. And so Patrick Mahomes was like, I should win. And so they won. And Andy Reid had a celebration cheeseburger afterwards. And that's the story.
I mean, you said it early in the season. I don't know which week it was, but you feel like the Chiefs are never out of the game until the game is over. Like, there could literally be 1 second left and they have a chance. Because Mahomes is literally like magic. Like, something literally has never, I feel like, never been in football before out of this world. Like, this whole game, you'd be like, the Titans are going to win. Like, no way. Like, they've just gotten owned.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I never was like, oh, like, this game's over. Because I knew, like, I had a feeling deep down that the Chiefs were going to pull it off because they have Mahomes, and that's what he does. He can be playing, he could be 0 for 15 in the game, and he'll come out and he'll lead a perfectly executed final drive to win them the game because that's just what Mahomes does.
I legitimately had that thought last night where I was like 17-9. And I was like, man, for any other team in the league, this is it. Like, this is the game. You're not going to win 17-9 at half. But I was unconcerned. I went to bed before the game was over, and I was unconcerned. I knew that I would wake up to the Chiefs winning.
Insane, but it went to overtime and stuff, and then Chiefs got ball first. No, they didn't. I don't know. Oh, Titans got ball. I don't know. They kicked the field goal and won in overtime. Good job, Chiefs. I feel bad for Malik Willis. Their coach has negative trust in him. Last week he threw the ball 10 times. This week he threw it 9 times.
When he did throw it, it looked okay.
Yeah, his receivers were dropping it, and you can't expect to win throwing against the Chiefs 9 times.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
No idea.
But that's neither here nor there. This is tonight's game. I think we had both picked the Ravens.
We did.
Because the Saints are a dysfunctional organization. Moving on. So the picks are lining up a little bit more in my favor. We're starting to move in a positive direction.
By 1 game.
Always good. I got 8 games correct this week, and Caden got 7. So, we continue this trend for the rest of the year, and all of a sudden, I don't have to stay the night in the Waffle House.
Okay.
Caden's going to the Waffle House. We all know.
I'll eat some waffles. Bulk season.
Yeah, something like that. So I'm at 48% win ratio, and you're at 57. So we're slowly closing that gap. I have 65 correct. You have 77. Again, slowly closing that gap. Tell you what, though, if I would have picked some different games this week, it'd be a way different story. There's a lot of upsets.
You can say that about any game. Oh, if I would have picked...
No, but we agreed on all but 2 games this week.
Oh, yeah,
That's what I'm saying. If I would have diverged on a couple of those, It would have been a different story because there were a lot of weird games that
For
happened.
sure.
But, oh well. All right. Want to hit us with the outro?
No, you got that. You can do it.
You did the intro. It's
All right,
unbalanced then.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the K&A Football Podcast. It was a lot of fun. See you guys next week. Oh, wait. Did you stop it?
No.
Okay. Woo, that could have been bad.
Close.
We're still rolling. Thursday night is a game. We should probably pick it.
Oh, yeah. Probably. Who's playing Thursday?
It's the Falcons and the Panthers are debuting their All Blacks, and it's so sad because they're debuting their All Blacks, and I can't even root for them because we need a tank. But for some reason, I feel like we're going to mess up our tank and win. I don't know who to pick. You go first.
I'm going to take the Falcons in that game. I do think that the Panthers are going... I feel like they're going to play well like they did against the Falcons last time because the Falcons are just... They don't have a good defense, so they might ball out again, but I'm still going to go Falcons because they keep finding ways to win.
Yeah. I'm also going Falcons. PJ Walker is starting again on Thursday, and after getting rattled yesterday, I think his confidence is all, gone. Everyone's like, oh, well, that PJ train has sailed, and his confidence is rattled. He'll get rattled, and we'll lose. Continue the tank, boys. Only however many more weeks to go. Let's go. Go Texans. All right. This is the real outro. Thank you for listening to the K&A Football Podcast. See you guys next week.
Thank you for watching another episode of K&A Football. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and you can listen to our podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
If you want to listen to our last video, just click our page and go to it. You're already on the page. It's not that hard. Just go find it. Peace.